Okay, Chris Pick's back here today. Brandon Mosley for our BCS State of Alabama podcast, and we got gubernatorial candidate Stacy George with us. Stacy, what's going on, man?
Hey, just hanging in there, living the dream.
Hey, so tell me, man, what was it like being a prison guard?
I'm going to tell you something. That 13 and a half years of my life was it was life changing. And, a lot of people call us prison guards because that's what you see. If you watch the movie, The Alabama Solution, that's what you see as prison guards. But we're highly trained correctional officers. But the reason nobody calls us a correction officer 3 months at Selma is because we act like prison guards. Or a lot of them do.
Stacy, I mean, how's life changed now that you're like a TV celebrity? I mean, you've been seen on TV probably more than anybody but Tommy Tuberville and Katie Britt.
It's been amazing, Brandon. I'm very humbled by what God has done because there's nothing man could have done to put me uh, where He's put me. I don't even know what to say. My life's changed. I'm setting up LLCs. I'm doing ministry setup. I couldn't even tell you how many things I'm doing. Now, the political thing I'm doing is it's just one faction of what I'm doing right now. I'm preparing to drive to New York any minute. I've got to drive there. I can't fly because I got to carry something with me. So, I mean, I've flown to Arkansas. The movie people flew me to Arkansas to speak to the Arkansas state legislature. We had a viewing in a theater, and then we had Q&A, and they asked me questions because they're trying to do prison reform. They want to do it right. So I guess they see me as an expert. Um, Hutchinson, that's the congressman. You got a U.S. senator there and a congressman, right? You know what I'm talking about? Asa Hutchinson,
Thanks,
and
Hutch.
there's two brothers, right? Well, anyway, the guy that picks me up at the airport, they don't tell me much. His name's Hutchinson. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. I said, are you any related to them? He said, one of them's my dad, one of them's my uncle. So,
Yeah, that's pretty
and one of
related.
them ran for president. I don't know which one, but anyway, that's who
Yeah, that was
drove.
Asa.
Yeah. So anyway, this dude drove me around all weekend and had me speak and meet different people. And yeah, I went by where uh, Governor Huckabee was. I didn't speak to her. Spoke to some of her staff. And so anyway, I guess they see me as an expert on the political tie to prisons. I guess that's what I was doing there. I spent 2 nights with Chaplain Browder in Montgomery a few days ago. Um, and we talked about ministry and what we can do from ministry to help this Alabama solution. But everything ties in the Alabama solution. I was on the Scott Beeson show yesterday for what was supposed to be 30 minutes, turned into an hour. And we were talking about my decision to start with, a decision to make a run as an independent for governor. And then it turned into the Alabama solution. So, man, I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot going on.
Let me ask you this, Stacy. Is it true like there's prison justice handed out to prisoners who commit certain crimes, like sexual assault or random acts of violence or something against children?
Say that again. I want to hear the first part of the question.
Is it true there's certain like prison justice that's handed out to prisoners who commit certain types of crimes?
Well, there really probably is at times. When I left the prison, there was 5 officers, and that's better now. They've lowered the standards. They paying more money. They've got recruiters out. But when I left that prison 3 years ago, there was 5 officers watching 2,300 inmates. So who was running the prison?
Wow.
Yeah. So they pretty much did what they want to do.
Stacy,
So
I've
that's
interviewed you in the past about this, but for folks that haven't heard, what is the most hours you have worked straight at the prison because they didn't have a guard to replace you when your shift was over?
18 or 20. I can't remember. Sometimes we'd have to sleep there. Now I didn't have to, but some officers did. They would sleep there, especially, well, of course, during snow, you'd have to sometimes, but I mean, you could pretty much, it was pretty much unlimited. There was no limit on overtime. That's the reason officers making 3-digit, 120, $130,000 a year. When I left, I would have hit 3 digits if I hadn't punched out. But I punched out at 10/26 of 22 at 9:16 p.m. The Lord told me to leave because I had 2 dream visions, and my wife confirmed it that I was going to be killed if I didn't leave the prison. This is the first show I've talked about that on. Yeah.
Was there,
Yeah, I mean, it has to be pretty scary walking those halls of the prison when you've been on your feet 16, 17, 18 hours.
Yeah, and I got hit by diesel while I was working there too, and that's what allowed me. The Lord opened up a door. A year before I quit, I got hit by 18-wheeler,
mm,
bringing an inmate back. Yeah, and anyway, a year later, I got a settlement, which wasn't a whole lot, but we put $3,000 with it and paid off everything we had. So that allowed me to quit 3 weeks later. But I needed to
was,
quit anyway because I couldn't hardly walk up down the stairs.
was there assaults that took place on officers in there?
Well, there were at times. I would say every officer that has ever been attacked at the prison, that I witnessed, instigated the attack in some form or fashion. Now, did that make it right? No, but the biggest fear I had in the prison was who I was standing beside. I had an inmate in there that I kept closer to me than the officer because I didn't trust some of the officers. So I would keep an inmate close to me, and I'll tell you his name. I think he's in Fountain now. And when I do prison reform, I'll move him to Red Eagle. His name is Stanley Kidd. Um, he's born on January the 12th, same day I was, but I kept him closer to me than anybody else in the prison because I trust him. Had a terrible crime. Guess what? You want to know his crime?
Yeah.
Okay. When he was, I don't know how old, and I can't get the exact details. When he was a certain age, allegedly what that says, I think it was something like he had 2 twins. I didn't look his jacket up, so I really don't need to say, but those twins ended up dead, and I think they charged him with it. Okay. He was young. I don't know, 30 years later, or maybe even within 5 years, or probably ever since he'd been there, he's a model inmate, but he made a terrible mistake. Now, does he need to go home? I mean, those deaths are worth something. No, but I mean, he's harmless. And that's who I kept closer to me than the officers because I trust him more than I did the officers I was working with. That's crazy. First, I had an incident when I first went to work there. Well, I'd been there a few years and I'd already run for governor once. You got to realize all the inmates in there love me. I never had to use a stick or a spray the whole time I was in there. I had an incident where I ran by myself to the chapel. There was 2 inmates fighting. And all of a sudden, they drop their weapons and they just stand there. And I'm like, what happened, man? I said, no, they're not scared of me. And then I turned around and there was an inmate behind me that towered over me. I'll never forget it. And I said, what happened? And he said, George, Governor George, that's what they call me. He said, we can't let nothing happen to you because you're the only voice we have. Because they'll put you on TV if you run for governor or something. You tell them about prison reform, and there ain't nobody in this prison gonna kill you because we protecting you. No officer or no inmate. Crazy, isn't it? You're the only voice we have.
Christopher, are you still there?
Yeah. What was the food like?
Well, on the boxes in the kitchen 3 years ago when I was there, it said not for human consumption. One of the boxes.
Really?
Yeah, the breakfast was pretty good. I ate those egg sandwiches when I was a kitchen officer too, but the boxes says not for human consumption. So what I say is, if I give you a box, Brandon, and you a box, Chris, and it says not for human consumption, then that means I believe that you're something less than human if you eat it. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, if you think you're something less than human, how are we rehabilitating you when we're sending that message on what we feed you?
So
I
what was it
mean,
in the boxes? Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
Meat patties with gristle about as big around as half a dollar.
Not too bad. Stacy, you run for governor twice now before
Hmm.
this as a Republican.
That's right.
Why are you not running as a Republican?
Because I have proven, and on page 15 of my book, y'all probably don't have my book in front of me, I tell you how I'm going to win this race. But I'll tell you why I don't run as a Republican, because the party doesn't get involved anymore, but it ain't like it used to be. Used to be when I got involved in 97, we had competitive races for governor. We had competitive races for lieutenant governor, attorney general, and now there's no competition anymore. So what happens is somebody like Tuberville, let's just use Tuberville. We could have used Ivy or whatever. And I may have made a mistake by filing the ethics complaints on Bentley to get Ivy in. See, I thought I was doing a service. Jim Ziegler and I testified in court in my book here. The documents that's all in my book. I mean, I tell a story how I'm going to win this time, and I tell a story of Bentley and all that. But I kind of wonder and kind of just wonder if I shouldn't have done that, because that put her in for a decade, and that was crazy. So why am I running, and how am I going to do it? The reason I can't do it is because special interest, put $5 million. They all get together when they figure out who they're going to run. They put millions of dollars behind the candidate that's going to run, that's going to be governor, and there's not a competitive race. So why do I want to spend, again, my income tax money and get qualified? They don't have any money, and I can't raise any money, and I'm not rich. So I have no way to do this except for make it to November. When my book, I tell you how I'm going to win. And I didn't want to do it. I resisted this over and over and over, because I knew the Republicans get mad at me, but they need to not be mad at me, because if I really wanted to do something with a high profile name like me, I could start my own I could make my own party. I could have these signatures probably in 2 months, probably a week. Okay, to get on the ballot. 43,000 is nothing. I haven't even started yet. I've got it already. But I'm not trying to create another political party. I'm just going the only avenue I can to make it to November, where I have never lost a race in November. I'm 2-0. Tuberville's 1-0. And if Doug Jones gets in there, he's 1-1. I've never been meeting November. Black people and white people both vote for me. I've got a story in there where I got elected the first time by minority voters that voted in November, and I won by 78 votes because they crossed over. Well, this not crossed over. They just chose to vote for me, the only Republican in history. So I know it's on page 15. I think how I'm going to win. So they're not going to beat me, because I'm going to pull a portion of the black vote and a portion of the Republicans, because really I'm running as an independent Republican. I'm a Republican, but I can't win a primary because of Montgomery's special interest.
Stacey, you was talking about the Republicans, 30 years ago. Do you think the Republican Party then is the same party as today?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Well, it's
So-
not, because it's not competitive. I mean, it should be where you could run, Brandon could run, and I could run, and we could all raise a few $100,000 and we could debate. But now there's no debate. I mean, the last debate we had was when Bentley was in, and they had it set up so if Tuberville messes up, I mean, their plan B is Will's sitting there not running for anything because he's the backup plan. I mean, Tuberville doesn't even live in the state of Alabama, really, and that'll be an issue when we run. But right now, the backup plan, it don't matter who comes in second in the primary. I could have run that, come in second. Okay, easy. But the second place person is not going to get the nomination. So if they kick Tuberville off the ballot, then Will is the backup plan. So, I mean, why would I want to spend my money doing that? And I'm not going to let any party, Democrat or Republican, keep me off the ballot. I'm tired of this politics. I'm tired of both parties fighting. Every time they held my stepson captive, he's got a baby coming. He's got a house being built, and this stupid shutdown messed him up. Well, if it wasn't Trump doing it, it'd be Biden doing it. If it wasn't him doing it, it'd be Obama doing it. If it wasn't him, it'd be Bush. And let me tell you something, these knuckleheads won't do this next year because it's election year. Tuberville's part of the problem with all this stuff. Now you can say we won, but as an independent candidate, I'm going to put like somebody like England in my cabinet, the Democrat that's got brains, okay? And I would be like somebody like Arthur Orr, or Scott Beeson. And what I would do is put each party, somebody that's not a knucklehead, and I'd say, come on down here and let's go to work for the people of Alabama. Y'all caucus together, see what we agree on. Let's pass it. We'll argue about what we're not going to agree on, but we're not going to hold the people hostage. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's my
Stacy,
plan.
have you got an estimate, a quote on what it will cost to go get, a team to work full time for, I guess, probably a couple months to get those 46,000 signatures?
Well, I'll be flying to, I'll be driving to New York here pretty soon, and we'll be figuring out how much money. And I don't think money will be an issue anymore.
Because I
I
know
got
the
people all over the world,
libertarians,
huh?
got ballot access
And yeah, I
4
could.
years ago, but it
Hmm.
cost them like $140,000.
Right, right. I don't think it'll
Because,
take
you
me.
can only get so many signatures a day when you're sitting at a little table at a college campus or someplace, if they'll let you set up there. And it has to be registered voters
Mhm.
in Alabama. People have lost their voting rights or never registered don't count.
Right. This is the plan. Right now, I turned my resignation in where I work at the school. So my wife, we have our finances set up where I'm free. So after Thursday of this week, all I do is get in that car and go. I've got a network of people all over the state. They're ready to get signatures, and I'll activate them. They've been ready. So it's not me. And you look at it and say 43,000, but what you need to look at is you need to put down the number 43 times 1,000. And then you need to put the number down 1,000 times 43. You see how it changes things? I need
Yeah.
43 people to get 1,000 votes, or I need 1,000 people to get 43. You see what I'm
You
saying?
probably need 46,000 because there will be that good intentioned person who signs your deal that doesn't realize they're not registered or they're registered in another state. So their signatures will get tossed when they go down to the Secretary of State's office.
To them in
Because I've
detail
had
about
that to
that.
happen independent candidates before where
Right.
they thought they had the signatures. And then when they go in there and they pull a sample out, and they throw so many out and then calculate what it would be based off the sample. And then all of a sudden they're not qualified.
Right. Well, see, what happens is I've already talked to them. I met with them in detail down to Secretary of State's. What I'm going to be doing, and if they'll let me go in with it, it's going to be funny. I'm going to take them in a 5-gallon bucket. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn. So, because we talked about it, they said we don't want all these things at one time. They said you can bring in, 1,000 at a time or 500 at a time. So every time I go through Montgomery, I'm just going to take that bucket in and give them what I got until I get to, I'll probably get in. And honestly, I won't have to really worry about it because by the time I get there, they'll have them all in. So I'll know where I'm at. And so when I get to January, and let's say I don't have them, let's say I only got 20,000 or I got 5,000, then I know within 3 months, we're going to ramp it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to ramp it up. So then at that point, I deploy more people. Meanwhile, I start raising money. Might have to run a few commercials. It's not going to cost me no 100,000 to get this. I'm just telling you. I got gas in the car. I got to get up at 2 in the morning, dude. I don't go to sleep till I sleep about 3 hours a night, and I'll crash after 3 days. This is going to be like a job for me once I deploy, and it'll be probably as early as next week. Deployment will, and then it won't be nothing but Stacy on the road getting it to people to get signatures, and then I've got groups of people. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I'll know by my birthday. My goal is to have them all by my birthday, which is January 12th. You know, 50,000. I might get 60,000. I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna get on the ballot though. I think, unless I'm crazy. I got all the rules down and know how to do it. Now I have done petitions before because when I ran the first time in '97, I started getting petitions and I ran them at stores and stuff. And I know how long it takes. You have repetition, but it can't be done like that. So I think I've got an organization together. But I'm going to go to New York and talk to some people that do the movie. And I mean, they're raising tons of money to put this thing on everywhere in all these theaters. So I know there's interest in me being an independent candidate. I just hadn't got to those people yet, and I haven't asked because I didn't get my checking account. I haven't got my debit card. I just got it set up yesterday. So I got my account set up. I'm set up with Secretary of State. I got my ethics filed yesterday. Everything's in place as of probably 10 o'clock this morning. But I can put money into bank at this point. Don't have a website or nothing, but I can't worry about that. I'll start deploying. I'll actually do some deploying this afternoon probably, but start getting a few petitions around, different people. I got all the state people, you know what I mean? I've been doing this since 97, Brandon. Yeah. So, I mean, I've got networks of people all over, and we'll see.
Take out.
Yeah.
I like the name of your book. It was a take on the George Wallace or vote Lurleen, let George do it.
Right.
And I'm reminded of another statement Wallace said one time. He said, there's not a dime's worth of difference between the two political parties." What you said a while ago about getting people that are not knuckleheads and being in the cabinet, do you feel that that's the case now with the Alabama Democratic Republican Party? They're just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they pretty much are. I mean, they got different beliefs. Now, if you got Republicans in, they're going to be more conservative and do conservative things, but they all still act like a bunch of knuckleheads. Whoever gets in charge gets arrogant. Republicans are arrogant right now because the Republican Party, they're like whatever they want. They got a super majority, and they go. The reason they don't need to worry about me too much is me winning governor doesn't destroy them because they still got a super majority, right? I've got to work with the Republicans because I can't get anything passed, right? So that's why I got somebody at Senator Orr or Senator Beeson. All right. But why do we have to just beat everybody up all the time, man? Why can't we do like Guy Hunt did? Guy Hunt in that book, Guy Hunt married my mom and dad in 68. That's where I told him, I prophesied, or, it was a prophecy thing. You can see it in my book. I walked through his orchard and I said, I'm going to run for governor. I wasn't even a registered voter, I don't think. And he said, run for county commissioner first and then run for governor. He gave me some advice. He said, everywhere you work, the whole time until you get to the point where you win this thing, because the Lord, he could feel the Lord on me right then. He said, because everywhere you work, make sure you got people around you to put in those positions because, he believed I would win. And I wasn't even a registered voter. So I took a course in political science and got political science student of the year. I never took much college at all. So anyway, but the man that nominated me, Dr. Berg, said, I've never met anybody like you. He said, you strategize stuff that nobody else can see, but you can't speak. You can't speak. They can't put you on radio. My verbiage was terrible and it's still terrible. But he said, if you ever get your speaking down, he said, you're going to be hard to deal with. And so, took me a while and I still got my verbiage wrong. And my book's terrible on verbiages, but the message is good. Right. And they're sold out now. So apparently somebody buying them. I've been giving them away for years. Now everybody buying them. Can't even buy them at Books A Million and Walmart. They're all over, but you can't even get them now. They tell me.
How many copies have you sold?
I don't have no clue. I don't make, but just a little bit because I had to do a hybrid deal where I don't make much. So, I mean, they send me something in the checking account about every 3 months. So I know, and I ain't sold many up till, I sold a few for the last since 2020, but I won't know how many's been sold till they pay me next time. That $3 or something. It might be $40. It might be $100. I don't know, but you don't never get rich on book, But it'd be nice to know, and that's how I can keep up with it. I'll know in a few months.
Stacy, if you're governor, what would you do differently with the prison system than Kay has done? She's devoted a lot of effort and has the two mega prisons that we're in the process of building. I think one of them may open next year. The other one is
Right.
years away. But
Right.
what
The
would
other
you
one
do
would be,
differently?
I would stop the building of the other one immediately, and I would take the one that they built that really, I mean, we need some new facilities or something, but it doesn't hold any more people, and the inmates going to tear this thing apart. It's going to look like the other prisons pretty soon if you ain't got enough people to watch them. And even if you did, things just get torn up in prison. 13 and a half years, I've watched it. You can have an old building, it'll get tore all pieces. So what I would do with the new prison, I'd move all my mentally challenged, the ones that are special needs rather, every night because they eat a candy bar on the bed that somebody give them. They're raped and ravaged. The special needs kid that grow up, they're in prison. They don't have any family. If you have family, you keep them at home. If you don't, they end up under a bridge, and then under a bridge, they end up in jail or prison, and that's the only place they are. So we got a group of them that are being raped every night in prison. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They say we don't know. Well, I just told you. Okay. Now we got the people that are on psychotropic medication. So I'm going to put the special needs there first on one wing, and then I'm going to take the psychotropic medication people that would be, I guess, mentally challenged, possibly some physical things, but they have to have medicine. I've been there with them when they don't get medicine. So that you could probably fill that whole mega prison up with people that shouldn't even be in prison. So it'll really be a mental health facility. So I'm going to have that to be a mental health facility, and we're going to keep the criminals over here, and we're going to keep everybody else from getting raped and ravaged.
So you said you found that somebody put a candy bar on somebody's bed and they eat it and they get raped?
Yeah, because they'll owe them then. It might be cookies or whatever, but whenever somebody special needs comes in, they leave that on their bed most of the time, and they're baiting them up. 5 officers watch 2,300 inmates. So how are we going to catch that? Sometimes I had to get it. If they did get it, I tried to buy them back. So I'd go get some honey buns from somebody and go buy their payment back and tell them not to do it anymore. But if I don't get to them, they're done.
So there's a lot of sexual assault that takes place in prison?
Yeah, we got 5 officers watching 2,300 inmates. All right. And at night, this is what 3 years ago. Now, I think some things have changed, but 3 years ago at night, a female officer can't even work in the cube because there's porn. The state's paying for porn, pretty much almost full blown porn on every TV at about 8, 9 o'clock till midnight. Half of them's in there. I don't know what kind of crowd we got watching this, but they're masturbating, watching the TV. Then they get aroused, and then they do other things after midnight when the TV goes off. That's rehabilitation for the state. Need to cut all the TVs off other than news. So they may have cut that out, but when I left, that was what was on TV. Do y'all see the problem here? Are y'all seeing the picture?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'm
you've got
saying
a bunch of men. You got a bunch of men sitting around watching porn, masturbating, and then it just leads to sexual assault to other people.
And we're paying for it, or we were. Now I don't know now, but I know what it was like when I left. And I've told people when I left a lot of stuff, a lot of the political people, and they may have stopped it by now. So I've been trying for years to get this stuff stopped, man. And it's like, nobody wants to care. Nobody cares. Republicans' hearts aren't right. They've been locking them up and throw away the key until their son gets in there or their grandson. And then they're like, hey, we need prison reform. Right. But let's look in our mirror. When I was 18 or 19 years old, I'm driving home from work, Wiley Laboratory. A Toyota 4-wheel-drive, brand new. I stopped and drank 2 beers at Pizza Hut. All right. Now on the weekends, I don't even think I'm within age. It's within that age range where I wasn't even supposed to have alcohol, right? I hit somebody. I got tickled pink. Now y'all go ahead and y'all can act like y'all ain't never heard of nothing like this. Mad Dog 2020, a half a bottle of Jack Daniels. I would do that on the weekends. All right. Now I hit somebody head on, had 2 beers. True story. First time I've told the whole story. I hit somebody head on. The guy out of the car comes up there. I broke my nose. I don't even know I hit him, but I fell asleep. I wasn't drunk, but I had 2 beers and I had all this stuff in my car. Well, this dude gives me the shirt off his back, a white T-shirt. I was coming up Priceville Mountain. I put it on my face, and because blood there. He comes in, takes the bottles and throws them out of my car to keep me from getting in trouble. I don't even know this guy, right? By the time the cops get there, he gives me 1 bottle. I throw it at the top of the hill and it rolls under the truck. I hit the car and then I hit the ditch. Now he had family. He said, everybody, all of us okay. He's trying to help me. I don't even know why that dude helped me. Anyway, by the time I get an ambulance, come turn around, they find a bottle and they said, hey, you need to do a blood test on that guy when he gets to the hospital. They do a blood test. They charge me with DUI. They don't know. All right. They come back and my percentage wasn't even nothing. Okay. So they didn't charge me with anything, but they made me sweat it out. Right. Now this time I'm 18 or 19 years old. All right. So let's just say that I killed a 15-year-old and 18-year-old kid in that car and I'd been drunk. I wasn't drunk, but let's say I would have been. Where would I be right now?
In prison.
All right. If we were both honest, I don't want to embarrass Brandon, and I don't mind embarrassing you.
I don't drink Brandon, at all, never did.
There you see, that's what I'm saying. So there you go. So now we get to the point where all 3 of us, if we were honest on this conversation.
I'm being honest, I've never touched this stuff.
Well, that's what I mean. Now, me and you, what about me and you, Chris? Have you ever drunk anything in the day?
I mean, like yesterday was my birthday, and I'm feeling pretty rough right now.
All right, so there you go. So Brandon, out of 2 out of 3 people, Brandon would have never done that, but me and you could have been in prison for drinking. So let's just say
Mhm.
it's 2 out of 3, right? All right. So now what do we say? Now, Brandon, it's probably hard for him to look at it like that because he had never done that. But me and you, the majority of people, have probably done something to get them put in prison. So now we acknowledge that. That helps a little
Yeah.
bit,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Stacy,
Yeah.
what would you say to the, I guess, fundamentalist? There's a lot of people that are good Christians that sort of think this way, that if you're going to have prisons, they should serve as a deterrent, and you should make those conditions as close to hell on earth as you can as a deterrent. So maybe people will, clean up their act and find Jesus and just not do the things that you do to get thrown up in there.
What I would say is what they need to do. Google is an amazing thing. So the New Testament, Google's an amazing thing. So they need to get Google and they need to type in Jesus and prisoners or God and prisoners. And they need to see what comes up, which scripture. And Jesus tells us what we're supposed to do. But nobody reads that part. I mean, I could look them up. I don't have them in front of me, but there's Isaiah. The first thing Jesus did when he came off the Mount of Temptations was he read out of the book of Isaiah. He rolled a scroll out and he read Isaiah 61, 1 and 2. Okay. I mean, I could read it for you, but I don't know if we got time. But anyway, pretty much, let me see what the King James says right here. I don't know how much time. How much time we got?
What, about 12 more minutes?
You got it here, Karen. She's my Bible scholar because she's got her. She's studying to have her doctorate degree in Bible and theology, and
Okay,
she's a lot
great.
smarter than me. Yeah, so Isaiah 61. All right, here we go. There it is, isn't it? Yeah, let me read it to him. All right, so here we go. All right, is that's just one? Oh, it starts right there. Okay. All right, so let me read this to you. This is what Jesus did when he come off the Mount of Temptation. You know, you had Luke 4:4, 4:8, and 4:12, which is where he was tempted, right? And so this is what he did. He read from this scroll when he got out done getting tempted. The Spirit of the sovereign Lord is upon me. This is the NLT, New Living Translation. The Spirit of the sovereign Lord is upon me, for the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. All right. It says, He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that captives will be released and prisoners will be freed. He has sent me to tell those who mourn that the time of the Lord's favor has come, and with it, the day of God's anger against their enemies. All right. So he read that, and you go to Luke 4, 18 and 19. This is his, it's really close to it. But anyway, let me get to it. Mark, Luke. All right. Luke 4. All right, and this will help a little bit. You know, this is not all of it. It tells you in prisoners, not one in there. I can't find anything in there where we're supposed to beat them to death or treat them bad. Now, I believe they need to be in prison, but their treatment is being in prison, separated from the family, not seeing their kids. I mean, you know, that's punishment. Um, for me, I wouldn't want to be. Goodness, I'm in such a hurry here. All right, let's see. Come on, Luke. There's Luke 4. All right, 4. Let's see, Luke 4, 18 and 19. All right, here we go. Now, Jesus read from the scroll of the other one. Now, this is what his final version was. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, and that the blind will see, that the oppressed will be set free, and that the time of the Lord's favor has come. All right, the next word, and I'll end it. He rolled up his scroll, handed it back to the attendant, and he sat down. That's
Thank you.
the ministry.
So
Yeah.
see, along those same lines right there, And I guess maybe would have control over this with the pardons or parole board, or even, I mean, do you think we should look at getting these people out who are not violent criminals and maybe even readdressing our sentencing guidelines? Because it seems like we'll send somebody down there for theft of $500 for a year in prison. And now we've just created somebody who's going to get killed or a monster, or, do you think that's something we should look at?
Well,
We
we
have
need to
done a
run.
lot of that already, Christopher.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going down there for years, and some of these guys are actually listening to me. I mean, we're one of, I think, 2 states. I thought we were the only state, but I think we're one of 2 states that doesn't talk to inmates face to face before they're kept in prison or released. And everybody in there has video calls now. I mean, is that not stupid? A picture. If I was looking at Brandon here and you, Chris, isn't just looking at me and each other worth something? Or we'd
Yeah.
just do this by audio, right? All right. So
Right.
if you're not if you can't, you're not looking at, why would you not want to talk to them face to face? It's because you don't
Yeah.
care. Okay. We're one of 2 states that doesn't do that. So every other state's doing it. So the first thing I do is let them talk to them face to face through video camera. I mean, a lot of my stuff is just simple stuff that I watched over the years. And I'm just thinking, and I tell them over and over, Brandon, you see me down there walking those halls, and they're listening to me on some of this stuff, but it takes them so long to listen. Then I run for governor and they'll listen a little more, and then I'll get beat and they'll be like, well, but I mean, you can't run for governor of Alabama and win in a Republican primary and tell them you won't let inmates out of prison. You agree? Both y'all agree?
I
They look
agree.
at you
That's probably
crazy,
not a
man.
winning issue.
Right. So maybe when I was running, I wasn't trying to win, right? I think I sent you the email, Brandon, of that long op-ed I wrote, tells about it. I wasn't trying to win governor then because I was just trying to tell them about prisons. I saved my income tax money up so I could go and spend it on qualifying $2,300 or whatever so I could go tell people something. I'd have a microphone. Well, now, by the grace of God, I'm in that movie, and all these times I've run, now everybody Googles my name and they go, my Lord, where you been? I got people investigating me, got pictures of my house, and they tell me, we want to know who you are. Where'd you come from? I spend nights with people, and they just pull my brain, and they say, where'd you come from? I said, I don't know. I guess God kept me hid till now so I could tell a story, and maybe things will change all, in Alabama and all over. So I don't really care about much. I don't have much. I don't have any fear of dying because I know where I'm going. They say you're crazy because you bring out all this stuff. I wrote a book about corruption. I tell everybody how they steal money. They're stealing money on these prisons. Okay, they're bid rigging. They're writing specifications so their buddies get it. Then they're giving kickbacks. They're getting it back into the funds. There's dark money out there. Brandon knows. He's all over it, man. You know it, right, Brandon? You all over this thing. You just hadn't got
Yeah,
there
we
yet.
do have a dark money problem in
Yeah,
Alabama where it's
yeah,
very difficult to trace some of these statewide candidates
that's right.
where they're getting some of these hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's right.
I won't name names, but they know who they are.
Yeah, that's right. And me and you have talked about this for years. If I win this race, I'll tell you right now, I haven't even talked to him. But the very first person I'm going to hire on my staff is Jim Ziegler if he'll go to work for me. And I'm going to turn him loose. Okay? And they say, what are you talking about? He's going to be, I don't know what title he's going to have, but he's going to have access to the books. And I'm going to say, Jim, you know what we've done with Bentley, and I want you to do it on steroids for you're dead and for you're dead, because not many people's like me, Jim Ziegler and me, and they said we're both crazy. But look, Jim Ziegler, I'll put him loose on that. And that'll be his only job, and he'll report to the governor. We'll fly in a helicopter. I'll fly into all the prisons. I have a group of inmates. I'm going to carry the Red Eagle that'll debate the legislature on prison reform. I've got it all set up. Okay. And I'll be flying into every prison on the helicopter, dropping down. I'll walk through the prison with no security, with guns like these other guys do. I'll have a couple people with me, might bring a few inmates with me. Okay. And we're going to walk through that prison. I'm going to grab one of them rolls and I'm going to sit down. And I'm going to say, bring me some of that tea, please. And I'm going to eat that roll. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to bring the media with me. They're going to fly. They're not going to fly in. They're going to meet me at front. We're going to have media day. We're going to go in there and we're going to sit down at the visitation yard. And anybody who wants to talk to y'all is going to come in and talk to you. And if y'all want to go in D-dorm, y'all can follow the governor. We'll go through SEG and everything if y'all want to. And then talk to whoever you want to. It don't matter. If they tell you something on me, then y'all need to know it. Y'all know how I feel about public records. Look, if we don't have access in Alabama to everything we doing, and Brandon Mosley and you can't go in and look at it, then we can't never get it fixed. I can't fix everything, but I can put y'all in a position to where we can all dig and fix this stuff. Man, I'm going to give money back to people. I'm going to change the tax structure where we don't appraise property. Executive order. I'm going to change it back to every 4 years. They don't need to be on your property every year. They say, oh, that'll just equalize stuff. Look, man, if the government gets on your property, you're going to pay more money. If they stay off of it, they won't. So we're going to do that immediately. Then we're going to go in here and we get all this surplus. I'm going to give it back to the people. Write them a check. I mean, I'm going to have 67. I've already talked to Ethics Commission. I'm going to have 67 Ethics Commission members immediately. And then I'm probably going to have more in Jefferson County. There's 5 in the state right now. I might have 5 assigned just to the legislature. You know what I'm going to tell them? I've already talked to them. I said, if you guys, I'm going to hire you and pay you a bunch of money. But if you eat within 5 feet of anybody you're investigating, I'm going to fire you and probably prosecute you. Okay? And you're going to go in here and you're going to sit in every city hall and you're going to have a little scare and you're going to go in there and sit in that room. And you know how much money they'll save by sitting in that room when these folks are setting up where Caterpillar is getting some that Komatsu's not getting, that John Deere's not getting, that this architect firm. We're not going to do any of this professional service. We're not going to do professional service anymore. We're going to contract all attorney fees, attorneys, all the architect firms. We're going to bid them out. All the bid bond stuff where they steal that money on bid bonds. We're going to bid all that out. And we're not going to close the specs where 2 people can get it. We're going to get competition on Blue Cross Blue Shield if I have to get it from Hong Kong. Okay? We're not going to have any monopolies here. We're going to have free enterprise. And we're going to save so much money. Trump talks about this stuff and just talks and talks and talks and talks. But my administration is going to get things done. And if in 4 years, if I ain't give you more money than you ever got in your life from the state government, then y'all fire me.
Stacy, assuming you make the ballot and assuming that Tuberville is the Republican candidate, he does have competition, and assuming Doug Jones does get in and run as the Democrat and he wins the nomination, who do you think your independent candidacy pulls from the most? Tuberville, the Republican, or Doug Jones, the Democrat?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I hate to just tell all my strategy, but I strategize stuff. My main concern right now is that A.J. McCarron doesn't beat Wes Allen. Now you say, well, why do you care? I don't care who wins. I don't even know Wes Allen. The only way people will vote for Tommy Tuberville in November and he can win is if A.J. McCarron is the lieutenant governor candidate. Because Alabama fans are not going to vote for Tommy Tuberville in November if they have another option.
They did.
And they're not going to vote for Doug Jones. Huh?
They're not going to vote for. When Tubby ran for Senate, he did get a lot of Alabama fan support to blow out Doug like he did.
Right. But see, the thing of it is, he never had a debate. The poor fella, I told him I want to meet him before I debate him because they'll have to debate me if I get in November. And I don't want to be bragging, okay? But listen, I will eat their lunch on every issue. I don't even need they don't even have to give me a list of nothing, dude. I will destroy both of them and make them look stupid. I mean, I'm just saying, it's something God put in me. I just got to get on stage with them. But what's going to happen is people, Alabama fans, they can vote for Tuberville in this race, but they really don't want to. But now he's running for governor. Now he's not running for U.S. Senate. If you're running for U.S. Senate, they don't care where you live. Probably, if I need to, I may have to prove that he don't live in Alabama, but I don't really want to run against Ainsworth. I'd rather run against Tuberville because Ainsworth lives where I live. He lives in the same county. But I'd rather leave him on the ballot because they're not going to, by the time I'm done with him, they ain't going to vote for Doug Jones anyway. Doug Jones he's a good guy. He's on my friends list. And Tuberville's pretty smart, but I was born for this. I don't mean to be mean, and I'm not being braggadocious. You could put Donald Trump. in a room, put me in a room with 10 people, any 10 people you pick. And I'm not bragging. It's just something God put in me. And I debate all 10 of them at one time without even knowing an issue. And it's not me bragging. I'm just saying it's something God put in me. I'm not that good, but what is in me is good and from God. So all I got to do is get those ballots on there, and it won't even be a race. I'll beat them over 50%, both of them. The one Tuberville come in second, and I'll pull more Democrats than Republicans, but I'll win over 50% easy, even if I don't have much money. All I need is people, and I got a lot of people, but I think I'll raise a lot of money too. I'll beat them over 50%. Y'all heard it first. I ain't told anybody the details yet, and I'm not being braggadocious. I'm just saying there's something in me. I don't know what it is, but it's God. But you know, I'm just a product, I believe, of all these people praying all over the state of Alabama for justice, for righteousness, for the things that's in the Bible. And I think I'm a product of what they prayed for. I'm like a wrecking ball. I'm going to destroy Montgomery, man. It's going to be like a tornado hit that place. And the strongholds have already been broken over. I went over and prayed over this whole state, 67 counties. Brandon, I gave you a book. You know what I was doing? You think I was campaigning?
Yeah,
No,
I
I was
still have the
praying.
book.
That's right. I was praying in that county. God told me exactly what to do. I got signs up all over the state in every county that says Luke 4:18 and 19. We were born. I mean, the state was born 1819. Luke 4:18 and 19. It's on every tree and power line poles and all kind of stuff. I don't know where we all put them up, but they're in every county and they're still up. I left growth marks, 1 inch. I don't even have to have signs. They've been up for years.
Stacy, we've kept you like 47 minutes. Is there anything you want to add before you go?
I do want to add one thing. I don't know you real well, but I just want to thank you for what you're doing. And I want to thank Brandon Mosley. Brandon Mosley is a maverick, dude. And I feel the Holy Spirit all over me right now. I just want to pray for y'all real quick. Can I pray for y'all? Dear
Absolutely.
Heavenly
Yeah.
Father, I pray the blood of Jesus over both these men right here, Father. And I pray that they investigate things, Father. And I pray that you put it right in their lap, Father, the corruption that's going on in Montgomery, Father. And you give them the boldness to cover it and bring it to the surface. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, thanks a lot, Stacy. I'll get this loaded up to YouTube, and I'll tag you later on Facebook when I post it.
Thank you. God bless y'all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on, Stacy.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.